Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second in our series of webinars brought to you by World ParaVolley. Great to have your company wherever you're joining us from around the world. Today, we'll be discussing coaching people with different disabilities. But before we get underway, a little bit of housekeeping. Most of you have done so already, so please make sure your microphones are muted. There will be the opportunity to ask questions at the end, but more about that later. We've got loads of great stuff to learn before that. For those of you that didn't join us, webinar number 1, Growing the Game with the brilliant Matt Rogers and John Kessel, is available for download, as will this be. It will be recorded. I think you already knew that, but just in case you didn't, it's important to let you know. Again, so please make sure that your microphones are muted. But if you can't stay for the duration, or you've got some friends that you think would really benefit from this, or any of the 5 webinars last week, this week, or for the next 3 weeks, then rest assured that they will exist forever, and we're absolutely delighted about that. So today, as I mentioned, the discussion is around coaching people with different disabilities, which is so important in a sport like sitting volleyball, the most inclusive sport. But as a result, it comes with the challenges of that. And Ivan will be bringing us his expertise throughout. He is a real servant to ParaVolley and is a member of the Athletes Commission or Coaches Commission for WADA. I'm about to find out exactly which one, but it is a pleasure to have your company. Are you there? Can you hear me? Can everyone hear you? Where in the world are you?
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dave, for the nice intro. So I'm Ivan. I'm from Croatia, or Ivan, as Dave said. Anything works. I'm a professional sitting volleyball player, and I've been playing sitting volleyball since 2007. So ever since I've been playing, I've come to be involved within all aspects of the sport. That means working in my national federation, working in my club. As Dave mentioned, I'm in the World Anti-Doping Agency Athletes Council, so one of the 20 athletes from all sports from all over the world. And I'm also an athlete representative in ParaVolley Europe, sitting in the board of ParaVolley Europe, and in World ParaVolley, also an athlete representative sitting in the board of World ParaVolley. I've been the captain of the national team of Croatia. I quit this year of being the captain. I'm still playing, and I'm playing professionally, and it's my dream come true. I'm doing something with my sport, and it's possible to be a professional athlete in this wonderful sport, and in a smaller country like Croatia is. I'm working as a sports director in my sitting volleyball club, so I know all of the do's and don'ts in sitting volleyball, and how to manage a club, how to deal with coaches, how to deal with players, and at least I think I know. I don't know, of course. There's always a lot to learn, and I'm really happy that I can get to spend some time with you to give you some advice from the athlete's perspective, and hopefully to learn something from you as well. So before I started playing sitting volleyball, I was a basketball player. This is very important because I was an athlete before I joined sitting volleyball. So I think it's a very important aspect of it, because I was in a club culture, national team culture, and I was listening to coaches when I was almost a kid. So I'm kind of used to it, to listening to what the coach says. And I've noticed that in our sport, I mean, parasport is quite young when you compare it to able-bodied sport. So the coaches that mostly got into the national team or in the club team where I was playing were mostly people from standing volleyball, from volleyball, right? But so they were the ones that had to adapt to our game, to our sport, and I kind of did most of the facilitating to help them to adapt to the sport alongside of other players, of course. So I have a good insight on the way that the game is played. And since I have a below knee amputation, I also know how I know what I did wrong and how I had to correct it. And when I started playing, I was self-taught. I was taught by other athletes around me who were not taught by coaches. So it was all self-taught, and I had to do corrections over time. So I'm the type of person that when I do something, when I love something, I like to get involved with it as much as I can. So it started to when I went to the European Championship and I saw Russia play for the first time and I saw Bosnia play. I said, okay, I want to be on their level. I want to get to their level and fight with them. And in order to do that, I had to make some adaptations to the way I was playing. So I was looking a lot at players who had my disability, my type of disability, and to see the way they move, the way they play. And I also asked them directly questions on how do you do this? How do you do this? And of course, with all the resources on the internet as well, I'm still adapting my game to the way that I think it's good for me at this moment, because it's not the same when I'm 37 now. It's not the same now when I was 25. It's different. So what I want to talk to you about today is the way how you perceive players, and it might help you to get along within your environment better. Uh, I've seen a lot of coaches throughout the years coming and expecting that we are professionals, that we will be listening to everything that they say. I will. I always do that. But not everybody was an athlete before. So this is one thing you really have to keep in mind when working with people with athletes who are playing para sports. Not everybody was an athlete. Not everybody knows what is discipline. And not everybody will listen to you in the same way, especially in a team environment. So I'd like to, we'll get to that. The mental part, mental aspect of the human, of being a person has really a lot to do with the way that you approach it. But because communication is going to be the key. If you want to say something to an athlete without them being offended, because a lot of people get offended if a coach says to them, you should do it this way, or you're doing it wrong. People can get offended and not listen to it. So communication is really the key in which you have to work, and you have to understand these athletes. As all of us, I'm saying this with 100% of thinking that I'm right. Each and every one of us has some sort of PTSD, some sort of, we went through a trauma. If we had a trauma in our life, where we lost our limbs and we didn't deal with it, it's difficult to converse with somebody who has something like that. And also, if somebody was born with a disability, I think it could be easier to converse with them rather than with people who had some kind of trauma and didn't deal with it. So let's start out with the biomechanics. I know why is biomechanics important? You're aware of it. In sitting volleyball, the ideal athlete is below knee amputation. Okay. When you have an above knee or below knee amputation, it's much easier to move around and to get the most out of your abilities. But that's why we have to look at each player differently, because everybody's disability is different. I might have the same amputation as a friend of mine, but I might have some problem in my good hip. Let's call it good hip, which is on the part leg, which is not disabled, but he doesn't. So he's going to move differently than I will move. So athletes may not be aware of how important biomechanics is for their movement, for their sport in general. So it's the coach's job to see through interaction how much do they understand the aspect of biomechanics and how important is it in sports. They have to know it and understand it so they can go through it with you, so they can change their approach if something is wrong. It's not wrong, maybe something can be better, but they have to understand it first in order to change it, right? We have new players who come into the sports and they don't know anything about it, so it's good if you can explain it to them. But we have old players who should change something, but they have old habits, and it's very different. It's very difficult to change old habits with people, right? And it's very difficult. I know that because the technical aspect of volleyball is very complicated. It's simple, but it's not simple. It's not for everybody. I can see it in my guitar playing as well. I learned something and I had to forget about it and learn it the right way. And it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot more energy and effort to progress in that way. So you can get some kind of resistance from players if you try to impose your opinion and that they're doing something wrong. But we always have to have in mind of what kind of group of people are we dealing with. This is something you will have to assess, because as I've mentioned before, not all of us are professionals, and not all of us act like professionals, even maybe if we are. And people just come in from an amateur level and they want to progress. So this is where you come in and you want to make them at least behave professionally, right? If you want to be something, if you're striving to get somewhere, you have to act like it now. So sometimes people can also be unrealistic. I really hope that in your coaching you will make use of video materials, by which I mean cameras. You record the player and then you play the video back to him, so you can see what he's doing, or was he doing right or wrong, because that's just evidence that it cannot be disputed. So that way you can see if somebody is realistic or unrealistic in their expectations, or in their thoughts on where they are at this current level. As I've said, yeah, it's expectations, and you can have a problem within the group if the group is not equal on the level of playing. This happens in a club level more than in a national team level, but you have levels of players. Like if you have beginners, you have advanced players, you have some intermediate players. It's very difficult to do exercises, the same exercise for the whole group together, right? So you need to find a way of kind of, I don't know, separating the group, but not separating it. Kind of do it through the training sessions. It's very important, because if you put a good player with a beginner, the good player is going to go down, right? The beginner might progress a bit, but your point is to raise the level of the lower players to the better players, right? So you can have a equally strong team. So when we start out with biomechanics, that's what I meant on movement. So I'm going to share some slides with you. And this is not some, please don't expect anything special from these slides. So just a second. Okay. Let's do this. Move yourself. I do apologize. Bravo, yeah? Great. Okay, fine. So we have the basic key principles. As you can see, you have the sagittal plane, which are the forward and backward motions. These are the approach for attack and for defensive ball chasing and the forward arm swing. You have the frontal plane. It divides the body into the anterior and the back, the posterior halves. So the movements are from side to side motions, like lateral shuffling or sliding in defense, digging. And we have the abduction and the adduction of the arms during a block. We have the transverse plane, the horizontal plane, that divides the body into top and bottom halves. So movements are rotational or twisting motions, like the trunk and shoulder rotation during top spin serve or spike approach, and the internal external rotation of the shoulder when bracing for the powerful hit. So what does it matter? You have to design drills which target each plane to improve the agility, the power and the explosiveness and the rotational control. All of the which I mentioned are under these three planes, right? And you have to understand the plane specific stresses which help in strengthening the stabilizers. That's for injury prevention. And of course, as I've mentioned already, please use the videos so you can do a performance analysis, and you can do a video breakdown which categorizes faults by plane, like, so you can see where maybe the problem lies. Of course, we cannot expect that the coaches from you that you know everything like this. So it's important if you have somebody to work with who is an expert in this area as well. So by appreciating these three planes, you can more effectively develop well-rounded skills and reduce the injury risk of the players, right? And now let's talk about something which is quite important. That's impairment-specific adaptations. You have the upper limb impairments and lower limb impairments. In sitting volleyball, as I've said, mostly it's amputations, which are ideal players. And we don't have people who are in wheelchairs. They cannot play, unfortunately. So it's kind of just for these two impairments, type of impairments. And mostly it's just lower limb impairments. When we have the amputations, right, like below knee and above knee, they alter the body's alignment and center of mass. And the resulting compensations show up in the static posture and the dynamic activities. So it's important to know that we as players, as people with disabilities, have problems with the way that we sit on the court as well. So it's very, very important for players to work on their hip mobility and, you know, the core. It's the base. It's the base. You really need to do the core because it holds up your body. And I'm sorry, if you do the core and the lower back, I think that's the key. At least for me, it is. And you know, you can kind of control your center of mass better. Kind of control it. if you have stronger torso, right? So we have adaptations, and how do we adapt to? Why do we even have to adapt in sitting volleyball? We have to adapt because of movement, and movement is the key. Okay, so why is the movement the key? It's because of positioning. You have to position yourself where the ball is going to be before the opponent hits the ball. If you don't do it by that time, it's too late. That's why theory matters. So there's no volleyball without theory, and you have to understand the theory, right? So all of the players have to understand it as well. I'm talking that from a player's perspective, not just a coach perspective. It's your job to relay that important thing to them. So you need to have an individual approach to every player. Why am I always saying that? It's because every disability is different. It makes a huge difference if I'm hitting with my right hand and I have my left leg amputation. It's really different than if I'm hitting with my right hand and I have a right leg amputation. So it's really going to impact the way that I move around the court, the way that I approach the ball, the way that I approach the blocking or doing anything else. So through interaction, communication, and getting to know the player, you should see what their goal is and what motivates them as well. You really should remove people who are disrupting the team. Kind of giving them example. We'll get to that later. But okay, I would like to show you some of the movement things, what I was talking about. If you can see number 12 from Bosnia, he's a right hand hitter, and he has a right leg below knee amputation, and he moves differently than number 8, which is a right hand hitter with a left leg amputation. And my advice would be, if you see a player with a certain impairment, please tell them to find a video of some games, either Russia, let's say for men, Russia, Bosnia, Germany, Ukraine, Iran, Brazil. Use all the top teams, right? And make them find a player who plays on a really good level, but has their type of disability, and just watch them. You can also do that with the women's team. You have Canada, you have USA, you have Brazil, you have Russia, you have China, Ukraine, Italy. That works for upper limb disability and lower limb disabilities. Find a player with your disability and watch them play. Analyze them in the tiniest details. So you see how he moves in the middle block, number 12, right? His leg is sticking over the net. When you look at it now, his left leg is bent inwards. And when you look at it now, when he's going on the right side, his left leg is bent backwards. You cannot see it from number 6, but you can see his foot. So this is why it's very important. He's one of the people who is really fast, and he adapts for his disability depending on the way that he's supposed to move, left, right, straight, or back. That is one of the crucial things that every player needs to do for themselves, and you have to know how to do it as well. So if you want to work on something with a certain player, you can also find the player with a disability, with a similar disability in a top team, and just look at how he moves, or she, how they move, because the point is to preserve energy, to be efficient, and to be, to not think about it. If we have to think about it too much, it's too late, and it's just repetition. But it has to be like very self-aware. People have to be very self-aware. Awareness is crucial when you're doing any kind of exercises. If you don't have any awareness while you're in the training session, I don't think that training session matters at all. So we have different kind of movement. I mean, when you move on the net, it's mostly laterally, and that might present the biggest problem for players. You can see number one from Germany. He has a right leg. He has his left leg, but his right leg is a bit smaller. And okay, never mind the lift. That happens. But he used his left leg to help him with blocking. He could have done that in a different way, like number 5, but he didn't. So it's sometimes you can use it to your advantage as well. But as you can see in these types of movement, the flexion of the hips is really important. So this is something that really needs to be flexible, and there's all sorts of muscles, tiny muscles that we have there, and we as amputees or people with disability, we don't use them. And when we're not using them, we don't use our full potential as well, because of our disability, we really don't have to use them. So they kind of atrophy and they don't exist anymore, but we can wake them up. We can start using it, but that's why we need to work out with people who have the expertise that know how to do these exercises. And I'm telling you from a personal perspective, like everybody can work out in a gym. We have a gym. You don't need weights. You need just a rubber elastic band, and you can do so much with it. It's very easy. You just need will and discipline to do it. Posture is one of the biggest things. It's one of the biggest things in sitting volleyball. That's why we need good core to have the proper posture. You can see number 14. He's under the ball and his trunk is really stable. That's why we have to do core exercises and the lower back exercises to have a stable body. When you have a stable body, doesn't matter if you're on the net or in defense, you have strength, you have confidence, you are tall, you can maximize your reach, and I just really can't explain it to you how important that is. Because when you fall down, you get up with your abs, with your core. I mean, you're faster, you're stronger. That core is the core, right? And you can see that he has kind of solid hit. He has a solid. How do I say it on English? I'm sorry, my English is not the best. His hips are really not that like. Okay, forget. You can see it that. Okay, I apologize. This is what I meant with proper posture. You can have the control in the block. You can see number 4, number 11, but number 4, that's really the way to do it. If you don't have the hip flexibility, he couldn't do that with his left leg. So he pushed out his left leg, he relied on the stump, and now he has a proper base. And with his core, he just gets up as much as he can. And you can see how important can that be in the blocking position, especially, and of course in the attacking position as well. So sometimes we have number 12 from. I took him for example. Number 12 is from Turkey. He's a very tall player. He's a good player, but what he does is he doesn't use his legs the way he should. Maybe he can't, but I believe he can. I've seen players with his disabilities doing it in a much better way. So when he is hitting, he leans on his left arm. So he doesn't use his core much. So that means he's lower than he should be. So he's just losing the natural given advantages he has as a tall player because he's leaning on his left hand. I believe that spikes should be with both hands in the air. It gives much better ball control. But some players kind of do the arm on the floor thing so they can lift a bit. But I don't believe that was his intention, and that's just from not trying. I kind of believe I don't mean anything in a bad way. I believe he's trying very maybe to the maximum of his what he thinks his abilities are, but I believe he can do much more, especially within this part of losing his height while attacking. And this is something that each player should know for themselves. It's very difficult to know it, and that's why I say again, please use video so you can show the players what they're doing. Some of them can say, no, I'm not doing that, and then they can see themselves on video doing that thing that they said they're not doing. So this is one of the things that you can see. It's a negative effect of not thinking about things. Okay, maybe this can be a situation where some things happen like this, but most of the time, in my experience, is because people do not think about it that much. This is a colleague of mine from my team also doing that. So I can tell you firsthand, he's doing that because he's lazy. That's one thing. Second thing, he's doing that because he has a problem, and the problem is he has to learn how to hit the ball, how to spike the ball again with both hands in the air. And he doesn't want to do it because it takes a lot of time. You know, people want to see results right now. On this training session, I don't want to see results on the next training session. I want to see it now, but it doesn't work that way. There's a whole approach that you have to take in correction of these things. I'm saying it from my experience because I used to hit like that with the hand on the floor, and it took me about a couple of months to correct it. But every training, I was just thinking, just put your hands up. Then I was scared I was going to be late for the ball, and I was late for the ball. And then I started thinking about how do I have to, how should I change my approach to the ball? How can I use my abilities differently so I can get to the final result that I want to have? So it took a lot of self-awareness of what I'm doing. I was recording myself. How do I move? And how do I do the things that I do? And that's the only way forward. But you as coaches, you can help players to do that. Of course, get to that point more like faster, because I didn't have a coach at the time. We were just people in a club playing sitting volleyball, so I had to do it by myself. This is a good example of a defensive position from number 10, the Ukrainian libero. He's very tall, very firm, even though you can see he has above knee amputation. What does that mean in terms of stability is if people who have above knee amputations, they have shorter stumps, which means their platform are not that strong as the case is with us, with people with below knee amputation. But you can see that he's built really well. He works out, so it's a really good compensation that he has. Number 27, it's fascinating for me. I just had to put him in. He's a really good guy, and he has a really high, almost to the hip amputation of his right leg. And this is, you can see his left leg there. It's completely unnatural to me that he can even put his leg in a position like this. But he can move it on both sides. And this is something that he just shows you that it can work on both sides, right? Same as the number as a player from Bosnia. Like, if he can do it like that, wonderful. He can keep his posture up. His reach is very high, and but I'm always kind of scared that he's going to get injured if he throws himself on the left side across that leg. It's very uncomfortable for me to look at it, but as I see him moving and playing against him, I can see that he's very comfortable with it. He kind of used that to his advantage, and he can move quite good for his disabilities. So I also wanted to talk to you about certain exercises that I'm just gonna kind of go out of this. Okay, I want to stop the screen sharing and come back to. I told you, I'm not the best at doing PowerPoint or anything, but I hope you get the message that I want to relate to you, right? One of the basic movement exercises that I would like you to do with your athletes is, okay, if you have 8, so you have 4 on a side, or you have 5 on a side, it doesn't matter how many people you have. So movement is the basics of this sport. People have to move all the time, and people have to understand how to move, and you need to help them with that. So in order for you to see what is everybody is doing good or not good, let's say we have 5 aside playing. So first you do some movements like forward, backward, then you do lateral movements on the net, and you do some without the ball, right? You do some kind of warming up, just moving around, and then you do it with the ball. So what we do is we play either 5 or 6 or 4 aside. We have the ball. We have 3 touches, but there's no attacking touches. It's just you use your fingers. You use the tips. You use the. Oh my God! I'm just gonna show it. Okay, I forgot the English word. It's late here. Okay, you do all the. So you can do anything. You're just not allowed to hit the ball. Okay, and you get 3 touches normal, and after the bump. Thank you. So after every time you throw the ball, the third ball goes across the court. You rotate within the team, right? And you do it again. And the opposite team does it as well. So it's a good warm-up exercise. Just get people warmed up so they don't stop. Because a lot of people when they go on training sessions or they're playing games, all they say, I didn't get tired. I didn't break a sweat. It's like, why? That means you're not doing it the right way. You should move constantly as a whole team. Everybody should move like spiders on a net. It should be flowing all of the time. And so if somebody says that to you, that means they're not training correctly. And then, so it's also it's also an exercise of ball control, and how precise people can be with their basic elements. Basic elements, you have to do it all of the time. But you do the rotation work, and then you stop it, and you start doing like a normal match. Let's say, let's do it. Just give them the ball and let them play. Also, no attacking. But when you say stop, everybody has to stop. And then you see if they're positioned well for defense and for offense. I think that was the best exercise so far that showed us, and me specifically, as if you're moving really good in defense or not. So as I've said before, if somebody is, you have to move on the first ball, then you have to position yourself on the second ball, and then you have to position yourself on the third ball, right? And that exercise that makes people move all of the time. And first they're gonna get a sense of where they are on the court, what position they're supposed to be, and if they're not, they're gonna go, okay, I'm not there, I have to be there next time. And what is the size of the court that they're covering. I really encourage you to try that. I don't know if I explained it well enough. I'm sorry if I didn't. Please feel free to contact me anytime. Please let me know if I can help with anything. Yeah. This is why we're doing that. Movement is the core. Then you have the working with disabilities, and also try to push them, right? Try to push players, because a lot of them, I've noticed, is like people tend to be in their comfort zone a lot of the time. But we don't get ahead if we're in our comfort zone. We won't get better if we're there. You have to push us out of the comfort zone in order for us to get better. So it's very individual. I'm saying all this that I'm saying, it's so simple, but it's so complicated because we're dealing with people all of the time. And as a player, I just love it when I see somebody that has a passion of learning. And please just try to learn from players as much as you want them to learn from you. So when we talk about this stuff, it's very individual, and it depends on the level that you're training and the aspirations of the team and the players. And please try to find the one player who really wants to achieve something, and try to really make them affect other players as well. Try to get the good ripple started. When you can see it in basketball or in any other sports, the best player is not the individual player. It's the one who makes the other players in the team play better. That's the best player. So try to find that one and have that connection with them of sharing experiences between yourself. There's so much I want to talk about, but you know what I would really prefer, if we can start the conversation or something. If you would please ask me anything, and I can talk for days, but feel free to ask me anything, seriously.
I'll come in there if you don't mind, Ivan. Thank you so much for that explanation. And I can see that you've just got so much knowledge, so much experience that you're just desperate to share. But I quite like this idea, because you can put it out there, but this is a real opportunity for everybody to try and funnel that. So if there is anything specific you would like to ask, just to reiterate, nothing's off the table here, is it, Ivan? You will answer any questions, any part of your knowledge you're willing to share.
Anything. Okay, I just saw that Massimo is here. Hi, Massimo. So he just reminded me. So they started with the Italian team. We know the Italian team. I know them. I've been looking them since the beginnings, right? And we just went on I was looking at the ParaVolley Europe Silver Nations League. I got so frustrated. I cannot watch their team play anymore. I wanted to call their coach and tell them like, please let me come to Italy for a training camp so I can see what they're doing wrong. I can see it annoys me. I know the potential that they have, but um, they kind of went up there and then suddenly they stopped, and then there's something within those players that I think maybe somebody cannot explain it. Maybe I as a player can explain it to them. Maybe they'll listen to me better than they listen to coaches. I know that coaches know their job, and it's so frustrating. So frustrating. I just had to say it. I'm sorry. I just might remember it. So please, any questions?
But I'll ask a few then to get the ball rolling, because I know
Yeah.
that sometimes people are a little bit nervous to go first. If you do want to ask a question, I know that Robin will. Robin's already had a question in the chat that's kind of been answered, but we'll come back to that. No, do not apologize for getting involved. We absolutely love it. That's what these are all about. But you've kind of alluded to this a little bit, but how do you balance competitiveness with inclusivity? Because there are so many different challenges. It's a sport with so many varying levels of ability. So how do you get that balance right between the competitive side and the inclusivity side?
So what we do in our club is we're really looking for that balance. It's a difficult question that you asked, and there's no right answer, like straightforward answer. So we have players who are like me. I love the sport. I want to, for my club, let's achieve something. I'm really competitive, but at the same time, as you said, inclusiveness. You have to give other players the chance. So what we do is you need a crucial number. So the more players you have, the better. You can kind of make two teams. We kind of separated ourselves into the first team. Everybody knows who the first team is, right? The starting six or the starting eight, and then it depends on the matches we play. So, okay, let me explain it like this. We have a league that's going all throughout the year. If we play tougher opponents, number 2 or number 3, we are the champions in Croatia. If we play number 2 and number 3, the first team plays, right? If we play number 4 or 5 or less, then we have more of the lower level people get in with the starting 6, so they can get. So I give them confidence by being by their side, or they know if there's a point that needs to be scored, I'm gonna do it, right? You relax, and then just we give them more balls, we give them just to get more experience. So we send them to, you can always look at tournaments, international tournaments. We have lower level tournaments, you have higher level tournaments. So sometimes we send the team to a lower level tournament, but we don't take the starting players. So that means they have to play all the time. So the result doesn't matter, right? So you need to have that as well. Sometimes you're gonna lose, but it doesn't matter. It's not a matter of life or death for the club.
And right at the beginning of your presentation, you talked about a lot of athletes in adaptive sports who have PTSD, trauma, things that have happened to them. So have you got any strategies that you can share as to how you build trust with people who are going through those things, who might be new to adaptive sports or have experienced trauma, and how do you judge and how do you motivate those people? Essentially, how do you make them feel included, and how do you make them feel as though they can really be a part of not just your team, but something that can help them improve their lives as well?
So we don't impose ourselves too much. We kind of when I have initial conversations with somebody who I would like to come to the club team, is like I explain what the club is all about. We don't have any expectations. We just want you to behave normally, like be a normal human being, be nice to us, we'll be nice to you. Let's hang out. Let's see if you're up for the sport. And through the conversations, I kind of opened myself up. Like, I had problems. I had, there was an accident. You always get that conversation. Like, how did you lose your leg? How did you do this? You need to it's this is all you have, like a peer approach. Like I have to be the one who opens up to them first. Have to show my vulnerability, my side of my story, what happened to me, and I don't push them to say like, no, it's not tit for tat. Like you have to say it back. No, no. We kind of open up to people, and you kind of feel the vibe if somebody's. We have resources within our club, um, that we have psychologists. So and it's open. It's for everybody. It's not just for disabled athletes. It's for everybody. So we have those kind of resources like nutritionists and all that. Just you can come in to a meeting and you can talk and you can open up, or you don't have to open up. You can just you can see we're there for you as a community. This is what we're trying to build: a sense of community and a safe sense of kind of a safe space that we understand each other if we have a kind of problem. And I don't think it only limits. I can see a question is.
I was going to ask actually if because Robin's had a few. Robin, do you want to unmute your mic and have a conversation with Ivan? Because I think this could be really interesting. The floor is yours, Robin. Grill him.
Sure.
Yeah, please do.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for your explanation, Ivan. It's great listening to you and all your experience. I was just wondering, you're talking about working with people with different kinds of disabilities. I myself am a coach and a player on a team that has people with and without disabilities. In the Netherlands, in the Dutch competition, it's allowed for everyone who wants to play. They get to play. So I was just wondering, because that might create a different situation if you have a mix of players with and without disabilities than when you're working with just people with disabilities. Right, there's a different, maybe a different chemistry as well.
So we have both. So we have the same. So we have a mixture of people with and without disabilities. Really, it's just about, as I said, being a good person and fitting into the team, and just playing the sport. And what we do as well, let's say we kind of have an award system. If we go to the European Championship as a club, the Euro Cup, and we win something, we do it as a club that we kind of award the able-bodied players as well. If they don't get something from the city or the state, we compensate them in the same level. So we kind of try to do that, even financially, as we do with the friendship side. We don't discriminate against each other. We're all the same, right? So at one point it was like 4 people without a disability in the first team. Now it's 2 people without a disability in the first team. So it doesn't really matter. People like move on, they go, some life takes you everywhere. But we kind of do the same. All of our programs which we do in our club is open for everybody. There's no limitations.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Have you got any more, Robin? Because I know you asked one question about specific exercises, didn't you? So while you're here, get it all out.
Yeah.
Well, I was just you were showing the images of the players using their one of their hands to support them while hitting the ball. I'm a former volleyball player, and I do exactly the same thing, and I want to unlearn this.
Yeah.
What can you teach me?
Oh man, I did that. I went through that whole process of unlearning. Is first is I don't know why you do it. I did it because I was not moving correctly. I was afraid I was going to be late for the hit, or I was, I didn't have confidence in my speed. So first, what I did is like I put 3 steps into my movement when I'm attacking, right? So I kind of put. In my mind, I have the high ball, the medium ball, and the really fast ball. So I have 3 types of movements for 3 types of the balls that the setter is setting for me. So if I have a big movement, I put my leg in an in-between position. Okay, I'm going to put my laptop down. I'm going to show it to you.
Excellent.
Okay. So when I start, this is my starting position. Okay, I have to unblur it. Now, okay. This is my starting position. Before it was like this, right? So now it's this, and then I have 1, 2, and then 3. So now everything else is a matter of timing, right? I don't know if this helps you or not. It's just, this is a kind of in-between position where I can go in any direction. And this is the base for defense and for attacking as well. If you're sitting like this, I cannot move in this direction where my hip is flexed. This is locked. If I'm open like this, I can go anywhere, right? So that's one of the key stuff is when I was saying that people should kind of discover what works for them and what doesn't work for them is depending on disability. When you have both legs, like you do, I think the players with both legs tend to get locked in that position a lot. You know, before even starting, you lock yourself and then you can be late for the ball. And that's why you do what you do.
Yeah, and the problem for me is I get away with it because I have tall arms as well. So
yeah.
But every now and then I see pictures or videos of me hitting. I think I can be up higher.
Yeah, you can be up higher, and you know what the point is in the final point of contact with the ball, right? I kind of aim it to be at the on the 45-degree angle towards the net, so I can hit the short diagonal, long diagonal, and I can turn the parallel as well. So I always want to be in a position where I can hit all 3 sides of the opponent's court, and that's when your arms are up, when your both of your hands up, you can. This is my aim. I just wait for the ball and I do that, and I do everything with my stomach, with my core, and I get a lot of the strength from the core as well. So when you lean into the ball with all your body mass, it's so difficult to defend yourself against it.
So can I ask one more question, Dave?
Yeah.
Honestly, the floor is yours. Please. This is great to have you here. Thank you.
I was just wondering. I used to play and coach with a double amputee. I noticed that, especially in defense, he was much quicker than I was. He didn't have to carry all the weight with him across the court.
True.
But in balance, I was a lot better.
Of course.
I'm always joking. I was always joking with him that he was a lot faster. He could pretty much run circles around me, right? But if I pushed him, he toppled over. So I was just wondering if we're talking about hitting and stability and balance and stuff like that, is that what kind of how would you approach the hitting part you just showed us for someone who has no legs? Is that different or is it the same or?
No, it's the same. He just has to move. He has a lot more tension on his shoulders because he moves with his legs. So he just has to be quicker with his arms, right? He moves with his arms, so he has to be quicker with his arms. It's the same, but his timings has to be different because he doesn't have the options of if I fall down, I can. This is one of the exercises I do when you asked about strengthening a core. I put myself into position and I move straight down to the floor and I come back up without using my hands. So I'm using my body control rotating in all sides. He can't do that because he doesn't have a platform which can put him back up. So his, as you said, speed is his superpower, his ability, right? So he has to use his speed. Whenever when you don't have something, you can gain an advantage in another way.
Okay,
So
thanks.
yeah, I would say the same, but he just try to do the fast attacks. That's because he has to. People don't really get it. It's like when attackers don't get it. It's like they used to kind of they always complain, "Oh, the setter didn't give me the ball right." Well, first your job is to get away from the block, right? And so when you have speed, you get away from the block, and then you're always one-on-one or even with no block. So use the speed to get away from the block and just put the ball down. It doesn't even have to be a hard hit. Just make yourself difficult to defend.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Robin. Peter, you've put your question in the chat. Would you like to open the mic and ask it, and maybe some follow-ups there with Ivan?
Yeah, no problem. Hello, Ivan. Very good webinar. Thank you.
Hey, Peter. Thank you.
But you mainly talked about the limb disabilities.
Yeah.
Do you have one advice or two advices, tips for people with an upper arm or arm disability?
So, regarding the upper arm disability, it's we don't have a lot of people with upper arm disabilities in my club. But I talk to people with for other national teams. So if somebody can have a prosthetic, which can be done, that would be, I can see it helps them a lot. Like you have from USA, you have Zach. He has like a prosthetics, and he uses it, and while he's playing, it helps him a lot. And you have players from USA as well, which are really good, and it's just let them adapt to the type of. I mean, it's difficult. Volleyball is a sport with hands, right? It's a technical sport with hands. So I admire them in the way that they can. If somebody doesn't have a finger, like on this hand, and they just like put the ball up, so it's such a good ball. Like being a setter with no fingers, that's amazing. Look at the guy from Brazil. He doesn't have all of his fingers. A lot of fingers. He has a problem. Is a setter, and he doesn't have both his legs, and his balls are really so. He sets so with such grace and steadiness. I just you just have to let them adapt and not try to change their. I mean, let them feel what's best for them. I think that would be my logical thing. Fortunately, I cannot say anything from personal experience, as you can see. So I don't know, Peter. I'm sorry, I cannot answer your question very well, but
No, but it's good enough. And do you have experience with people with a stiff leg?
yes.
Because in Rwanda, I had one tall guy with one leg, two legs he couldn't move, and a lady with a stiff leg. So she's always trying to find a place to put her leg.
So we have a player in my club team, in the national team, number 4. He's actually my setter. He has a stiff leg as well. So he kind of he uses his hip just to kind of he uses the momentum to throw the leg around, if you know what I mean. He kind of uses his gluteus and his hip to kind of throw it around and to change his body position. But also what he does is he's really flexible. He worked on the flexibility stuff so that it doesn't bother him. And we also had one more player with a stiff leg. He was also very flexible. They both kind of compensated that they don't have the ability to kind of bend the leg, so they were so flexible that they could touch the floor with their face, with their hands in front of them. That was their point of gaining space, you know.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivan. Any more questions? Anybody? If you use the feature to raise your hand, we can come to you. Who has asked that question there? Ali.
Ali, yeah.
Hello. Ask the question, please. No? Okay, I tell you what, then you can read the question, Ivan.
Read it.
Yes.
So, okay, what is your opinion on using data volley? Oh, okay, Ali. Okay, you can't talk. Data volley in sitting volleyball, and approximately what percentage of teams are using it? So, we are actually using data volley in my club team, as our new coach is a professional data volley analyst. So he was a standing volleyball, so he kind of brought it to us. We kind of met him through it, and I could see that a lot of teams before us, of course, were using the analysis. I like it. I do like it. It can have a good base if you know how to use it, but it's not really crucial. It can help you beyond a certain point, right? But you need to get to a point where you can use it. That's the problem. Because there was a photo when we had in Duisburg, we had it was a qualifier for Tokyo. We play against USA. We had a camera, just a regular camera, 10 years old camera. I put it on a box, like a cardboard box, just to record us playing. And they had 2 data analysts with like 6 cameras all around, the live feed to the coach and everything. And we beat them 3-1. You can analyze as much as you can, but if you just need to be flexible to kind of know what your opponent, what he does, and try to adapt in certain situations, because if you adapt, I don't think that analytics can do much if you are like morphing in your game a lot. So you need to have a lot of approaches, a lot of playing styles. You need to develop a lot of playing styles so you can play with a different number of teams. It's not the same when you play against Bosnia. It's not the same when you play against Kazakhstan. When we play against Bosnia, we can get to 20 points. Fine, because we know them. They're the same team like we are. But when we play against Kazakhstan with the fast balls, and it's like they destroy us. But literally, we were supposed to be better than them, but we play better against Bosnia than we do against Kazakhstan, and that's the problem. Analytics cannot help us because we're not adapting as individuals to our opponent on the net. But I really like data volley. I like it, but not a lot of people do, because it shows the real thing, right? We had a lot of negative feedback from players, because they say like, oh, you got 30 balls and you scored 3 points. Like, oh, that's not true. Then you can get into fights because people don't want to know where they are.
People don't like it when you hold up the mirrors, do they? And they don't like what they see in the reflection. Yeah,
exactly.
Of course. Do you know what? That's a really interesting question, Ali, and a great answer as well, Ivan. And if you're more interested in that kind of thing, then make sure you sign up and join us for the webinar next week, because we've got Nicole Ban, who is the Canadian Paralympic coach, and she'll be talking about using data, how to use your bench to really impact performance as well. So that might give us an opportunity to go down into the nitty gritty of that particular sitting volleyball wormhole. With that in mind, we've probably got time for a couple more questions, because I'm aware that the time is getting on. Would anyone like to raise their hand and open their microphone and have a conversation with Ivan? Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much for following that up, Ali. You're an analyst in standing volleyball. I'm very interested in the sitting volleyball field. Oh yeah, look, I think Ivan, just to follow up from Ali, if people are interested in the sport in any capacity, we would love to find a way for them to be involved, wouldn't we? The sport will thrive when people who love it, who are interested in it, just give it a go in any capacity. So I'm sure, Ali, there is a welcome for you in this sport.
Well, that's one of the things you said well, because I mean, as I said, the sport is developing, so we need a lot of people from either standing volleyball. You need sports professionals to get into para sport, and this is the way to get them. I mean, it can be very useful, and we need managers. We need people who know how to manage teams. We need people who know how to manage NPCs. You know, just come in and do the work that needs to be done. I'm saying, like, the best investment is in people. I think that the best investment you can have in anything, if you're building a business or anything, it's, you know. So really, I'm really happy to see that, you know, for what Ali is writing.
Yes, thank you, Ali. Any more questions? Perhaps we've got time for one more. The problem is, Ivan, you were too thorough. Oh, Massimo.
No, I wasn't. I went all over the place. Yeah. I'm aware of that. I'm sorry.
You hear me?
Yes, we've got you, Massimo. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, sorry, but it's not a question. But thank you, Ivan, for your explanation. So I remember you a few years ago. I don't know, from 2015, 2016, 17. I don't know. And it's real. Your movement, it was so different. Was so just as you describe, and during this year, your movement is changed, and in my opinion now is much more better, and it's real was you described in your explanation, and thank you, because you know me. I like you as a player, as a man, first. And it's not a question, but it's a confirm, as you explained. Very thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to
see that somebody noticed it, and that it's visible. It's a visible change. I'd like to take this opportunity to ask everybody, so we have the European Championships coming up. Watch the games. You know, you can take me up on it. Like, what I'm saying is, okay, you might even say I'm going for a medal this time. So you can, you know, try to look at the things that we do as players, and just try to copy it if it's good, if you think that's any good. And you can also see a lot of bad things, which is also good, to recognize the bad things that you don't want your players to be doing. But I think we're going to have some really good games in the European Championships, and everything's going to be on live stream. So we're also going to, I think we're also going to have we're going to have a court where we're going to have the challenge. So Technologia is going to be fun.
Oh, the challenge system, brilliant. And all the fun and games that comes along with that. Ivan, thank you so much. This has been a real pleasure, and thank you for joining us. I know that we've got people all around the world on this webinar, and we really appreciate you taking the time to learn and grow and help us to grow the sport. This is number 2 of 5. As I mentioned before, this has been recorded and will be available as part of all the resources that World ParaVolley offer, as will still number one. That was Matt and John. That was a brilliant session as well. And next week, as I already mentioned, we've got the Canadian coach, Nicole Ban. Oh, Ali has just asked, could you share your Instagram, Ivan? Look,
okay.
you've got to feed the gram, man. Come on.
Fun fact, Ali, I really like my life. So I have no social media at all. I use my extra time I use to play guitar.
Oh my God! So that was what I was going to ask you. You mentioned your guitar playing. Is that was a Les Paul there? If you treated yourself to something really nice?
Yes.
Of course. Good man.
Oh, it's good. You noticed it. To the Les Paul.
Yeah.
So it's no, I have no social media. I read books and I hang out with my kids and I go to training sessions. So if you want to contact me or anything, you can always ask the host for my contact. I'll give it up. I'm gonna write my email in the chat. I think if that's okay.
Yeah, brilliant. That's perfect. I was going to ask if you wouldn't mind sharing that. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, everybody else. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. It's going to be a great session with Nicole Ban. That will be 3 of 5. Let's grow these webinars. Let's grow this sport, and let's have a good time doing it. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.